Okay, so we are looking for a picture of a dancer. You can choose any kind of dancer. I put in ballet dancer. And then remember, I am doing for large. I'm saying that I want it to be a large size. I'm in images. That's why I have these tools available to me. And then I want it to be a Creative Commons license, which is a quick way of getting one that does not have a copyright. So once I have those tools, here's what I've got. So I'm going to kind of look here, see what is kind of a clean, full body um, picture of a dancer that has some movement to it. So I'm going to click on this one. This is Pexels. And this is a very high resolution, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and go into it because then I will have kind of make sure that I have the large version of this. So I'm going to do that. This one happens to have a free download, which is awesome. And so I'm going to put it in my desktop folder, and my desktop folder is Warp. And I'm checking that it's a JPEG file. It's something that I can open in Photoshop. And then I am clicking on it and saving in there. So that's my first job to do before I can do anything else. All right, so now I'm in Photoshop, and in this case, I'm going to just open my picture. You usually have to kind of navigate to Desktop Warp. I'm going to navigate to here, and I'm just going to open up my photo. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select subject. So this is usually available here. I'm going to select the subject. It's going to take a while for that to happen. And you're going to notice that, this is now, a pretty clean. That's one of the reasons why I chose the picture I did. I thought it was a pretty clean picture that was going to cut out pretty easily. So what I'm going to do here is I want to duplicate this layer that's in the selection. So while it's selected here, I'm going to press on Control J, okay? When I did that, an extra layer showed up. I have my background layer and I have layer one that only has the selection in it. We're in layer one now, so I'm going to just show you what can happen. So now that I'm in layer one, yeah, I can see that I have two subjects here. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo that. And I'm going to rename this layer subject because I want to remember that this is kind of the subject that I always want to keep as a top layer. Now that I'm in subject and I've highlighted this area over here, I'm going to do Control J. Actually, I'm going to unclick up here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to do Control J, and that made a copy. Okay. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to name this Warp 01. Okay. And I'm going to move Warp 01 under the subject, which is kind of a key. So I'm always going to have my subject on top. I'm going to have all my warps. Each warp is going to be below, below, below. Okay, so here I am in Warp 01, and I have it highlighted. And there's two things I can do. So I'm going to show you first one way to warp it. Then I'm going to show you another way to get to the tool. For this one, what I'm going to do is I've clicked on Warp 01, which has highlighted this. And then I'm going to do Control T, which is transform. Nothing really looks different. So I have to go up here. Now I'm in my transform option bar. And do you see something that looks like a ring? It's not a ring. It's going to be a grid. I'm going to click on it. And when I click on it, this turns into a grid. Okay. So the cool thing about this is each object that's in a grid can be manipulated separately. Okay. So I'm going to come over here first to this, her right arm, and I'm going to kind of nudge out another arm, okay? And over here, I'm going to nudge out another leg, okay? Now I want these to be about the same distance, like this extra layer and this extra layer the same. Now I'm going to click on the Done button, which is this little check mark in the option bar. Okay. Yay. But I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to come over here to my layers window and I'm going to change the 80% opacity to 70%. 70, enter. Okay. That makes this next layer a little, is less, more opaque, less, kind of less visible. So I'm going to do that. Okay, that's great. So I have my subject, my warp 01, and my background. Now I'm going to go to warp 01 and I'm going to highlight it, Control J, and I'm going to name this, I bet you can guess, it's going to be warp 02. Okay, warp 02. Okay, and I'm going to move this warp 02 under warp 01. Okay, so subject warp 01 or warp 02. Okay, so this time, instead of Control T, I'm going to show you the other way to get to transform, and that is I have warp 02 highlighted, and I go to Edit, and I go to Transform, and I go to Warp. Okay, and that brings the grid out. Okay, so now I'm going to do this again, where I'm going to nudge out another arm, and I'm going to edge out another leg. I'm going to press the check. I'm going to click on the check mark, which will kind of finalize that. I've got warp 2, so I'm going to go over here to my opacity, and I'm going to make this 50 and enter. Okay. So each layer is a little less bold than the layer before it. Now I want you to kind of see something cool that's happening here. So you can see that it's only the leg and it's only the arm, and but not everything is being transformed. Okay. So I'm going to go there. And I'm going to go to Warp 02 and I'm going to Control J it. And I'm going to rename this Warp 03. And I'm going to move that Warp 03 under Warp 2. This is highlighted. This time I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm just going to do Control T. And then I'm going to go up to the ring and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to tease out another arm, another leg. Click on the on the check mark, and I'm going to make this one 30%. So this gives the illusion of movement with the leg, with the arm. I can click on this, kind of see what this looks like from the subject at the top. Looks really cool. And then I'm ready to submit this. So I'm going to do File, Export, Quick Export as Ping, and then I'm going to put that in I'm going to rename this Wilkerson K _ warp, save, and now I'm ready to submit that.